What is going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. I'm so excited to bring this video to you today. We are celebrating 2 years of the channel and 2 years of making accurate sealed product price predictions. I've had so much fun over the last 2 years, so we're celebrating. As always, we're going to go through all of the sealed product price changes in the market. The market is going absolutely insane right now. No sign of it slowing down. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. Okay, starting off every episode, as we always do, we got to talk about the big boy destined rivals. I think that even though there's so much hype behind this set, it is still the most slept on set within the Scarlet and Violet era. It is kind of clear now that it's going to be one of the best performers in the era, and long term, when we start zooming out 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I do think it's going to be right at that top spot of most expensive sets. It's either going to be the most expensive in my opinion or the second most expensive. 151 and Prismatic could put it to the post in the long term, but as far as like booster boxes are concerned, there's kind of nothing that rivals it, no pun intended. Let's have a look at what's going on with the prices then. We're just starting to go vertical on the prices now, and part of the reason for that is there's just not booster boxes on shelves. There were so many people that when Destined Rivals first came out, they were just like, oh, it's too overpriced, I'm not paying over retail for a new set, it's in print for 2 years, there's going to be loads of booster boxes around. Where? Like, there just isn't enough on the market, and just because something is in print as well doesn't mean it's actively being printed. It's just there's the potential for it to be printed, and there's just way too much hype, way too much demand behind this set for any kind of significant printing to like reduce the price for any serious amount of time. Don't get me wrong, if they dropped a load of product tomorrow and it was just on shelves everywhere, which is quite unlikely, the price would drop down. It will. But once we start zooming out onto a longer time horizon, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years plus from now, none of that's going to matter. If you're going to ask me where the price point of Destined Rivals is going to be 2 years from now, I can pretty comfortably make a bet with you saying that it's going to be a lot higher than where it is right now. And I think a lot of people in the market, and even people who aren't really into the sealed investing or collecting side of things, even just everyone in the hobby, I think we all kind of agree that we know that Destined Rivals is set to perform quite well over the next few years. I think that is what is really driving up the price point, and the fact that there just isn't products sat on shelves. If you're lucky to find Destined Rivals out in the wild, you might see some sleeve booster packs, you might see some booster bundles if you're lucky, maybe an ETB marked up at market price in some LCSs, not even retail price, possibly. But I mean, the dream that some people had of MSRP Destined Rivals, I was pretty certain it was never going to happen. That's why we personally bought in quite early into it. When people told us we were mad, we managed to get our average price point for buying into Destined Rivals real low, so we're super happy that that paid off. I kind of predicted that this was going to happen. I've been calling it out since the release of Destined Rivals. If we have a look at what's going on in the price charts, $351 last week on the average price on TCG Player, and this week we're seeing multiple sales over 400, as high as 410, which is kind of crazy for how new of a set it is. But like I said, it is just the big boy of Scarlet and Violet. We kind of all know where it's headed. So yeah, if we take last sale of 400, we will calculate out the price change on the averages there. So it's up $49 on 351. We'll calculate that out. 49 divided by 351 times 100. Destined Rivals this week on the averages on TCG Player is up 14.9%, and it's really starting to accelerate up in price and pull ahead and really start to flex its muscles and show the potential of where it's going long term. We always say to people, be prepared to hold anything for at least 2 years minimum. You don't have to hold it for 2 years. It's your product. You can sell it whenever you want. If you've got the product, you've got the power. However, if you want to decrease your chances of losing money, be prepared to hold something for up to 2 years at a minimum, preferably much longer than that, until you get the price point that you want. It just smooths out any ebbs or flows in the market. Let's have a look then at what's going on with eBay. Last sold on eBay US is $400 on the nose, 1 cent off. So really, eBay is right there with market price as well. $400 all-time high, and quite a significant jump over the last week as well. That's going to be a bit of a theme of this episode today. The market is moving kind of mad. There's a lot of people that said it was a bubble and to wait and the bubble's going to burst. Those people have been saying that for months, and we just still keep pushing on, start hitting all-time highs, start crushing through. And with strong sets like this, like I said, as long as you're prepared to hold it for at least a couple of years to even out any potential big reprints, I think you'll be fine. I think there's just way too much demand for it. We're playing a little new game as well. So eBay has now added the town and the state where the product is shipping out from on US eBay. So I'm learning my states through the 2 letters, because I'm actually based in the UK, so I don't know all the states off the top of my head. And if you're from the US and you think that that's ridiculous because you know all your states because you're from the US, try and name me some English or UK counties from 2 letters. I doubt you could even name one. So there you go. Little fun game. And also, we're going to do something new. We're going to see from last sales which state pops up the most, so we can see who's scalping the most product this week. First one coming out from San Antonio, Texas. Texas takes the first one today. I do know TX. That's a nice easy one. eBay UK last sold 250 quid. Not a bad buy. Even though Destined Rivals is at an all-time high, I still think it is not a bad buy to buy in at $400 or £250. If you're wondering why I'm looking at both eBays, I am UK based, but we have a look at the US market for everything as well, because we have a lot of US viewers on here, and it gives you a good picture wherever you are in the world on what's going on. So we look at both US and UK prices. If you're new here as well, consider subscribing down below to never miss an opportunity. Every 7 days we will be showing you the entire market for sealed product, everything that's moving up and down. You can see how many tabs I've got open. That is a lot to keep up with, especially in a market like this where it's moving so quickly. So instead of having to pay attention to your charts all the time, take a rest, take a sit back, get comfy, pop me on once a week, podcast style, kick back and relax, and I'll tell you everything that's going on in the market so that you don't have to track it yourself, because it is a lot to keep up with and it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes. Let's have a look then at Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions is arguably one of the other best things you can buy at the moment from the Scarlet and Violet era. Were so many people again calling for the MSRP Prismatic Evolutions. It's getting printed into the ground. Costco's doing insane bundles and printing loads of them, and there's pallets of it. And then you had Sam's Club as well with their Pokeball bundles. Just didn't really change the price below $100. Again, we've been calling this since before it happened. Lots of people said we were stupid for doing it, but it has come true. Anything under $100 or around $100 for Prismatic Evolutions, there's just too many people waiting with money to buy it out, so it just will not drop below $100 for any serious amount of time. People are delusional about the fact that Prismatic Evolutions will be printed into the ground. This is them printing it into the ground, and it's not dropping below $100. In fact, we're actually seeing some positive price movements on Prismatic, and I tell you what, time moves so fast in this sealed hobby. I have been doing this for around about 10 years, coming up to a 10-year anniversary. We kind of got massively involved with sealed investing at the end of the XY era, with Evolutions being out. That was when a lot of people came back to the hobby as well, and we've lived through multiple hype cycles. We've lived through seeing multiple sets be underpriced and then increase in price, and we're getting pretty good at just predicting where sets are going to go on the long term. We have a very good success rate on this channel. If you want to go back, check my credentials. That's a nice thing about YouTube as well. Everything is there for show. You can go back and look at my other videos and see if those predictions came true. And you will struggle to find many people on the internet that not only predicts as accurately as I have done. Hey, it even shocks me. I'm being humble about it. I'm not trying to brag about it. I'm just being fully transparent that you need to be careful about some of the people that you're listening to. It is very easy for people to just say, oh yeah, buy Prismatic Evolutions or buy Destined Rivals when it's already shooting up in price, and then that's the only prediction they make. As you can see, each and every 7 days on a Saturday we deliver you a video and we show you all of these plays that are going on. It's not just the big boys, it's about analysing the whole market and everything that's going on. Let's have a look at Prismatic then. $110. Look at that, multiple sales as well. 6th there from today, another 3 for 110, 110, 110, 110. Price is going up, guys. If this is them printing it into the ground, I'm telling you, Prismatic is going to have a heavy price run over the next couple of years. Once this goes out of print, I think it's going to follow in the footsteps of 151, and I'm pretty confident about it. There's a lot of people that don't think that's going to happen, but to see positive price pressure, that is a lot to get out. Positive price pressure. When there's just so much of the product about, just shows the strength in the product. I think that Prismatic is going to perform very well going forward, and we actually bought some more Prismatic this week. Full transparency, I have been increasing my Prismatic position very slowly. You don't have to move in big, and it's all about your financial situation as well. I've had a lot of personal expenses over the last few weeks, so I've barely been buying any product. I've put in pre-orders on Pokemon Center for Mega Evolutions and stuff. We went a bit mad there. We pre-ordered everything we could, bundles, the 2 PC ETBs and a booster box. So yeah, we went a bit overboard with that, but I don't regret it. But I haven't been charged for them yet, so really I haven't really been buying anything for about 6-7 weeks while I take care of some personal expenses, and that's perfectly fine in the hobby. I think that this is a really important public service announcement that I need to make to all of you when you're watching videos, even like mine, but especially other people. The focus on each video is buy, and it can be enough. And fatigue is a real thing, and we all have different financial situations. So it's perfectly fine to take breaks. Over the 10 years, I've gone a whole year without buying any product, and I'm just sitting on what I've got, watching it appreciate. I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? It's perfectly fine to take breaks. And when you're ready to buy again, my videos are here for you. Like I say, look at all these plays, all these tabs that I've got open. I will always let you know what's going on in the market for when you're ready. These videos here are not just to encourage people to buy. That's not what they're there for. It's just to show you what's going on in the market for what you already own. It's to help educate people so it can make a decision what they might want to buy further on in the future. And yeah, it's not a focus on buy. It's very easy if you get into the cycle of watching a lot of Pokemon investment videos to think that you're always missing out on something and I need more of it, and you FOMO. I've got news for you. No matter how much you buy of any product, you're always going to feel like it wasn't enough and you should have bought more when the price goes up. Be happy with what you've got. Be happy when you sell stuff. Don't regret it if it goes further up in price. Just be happy in the moment and be able to detach yourself emotionally from stuff like that. Stop doing all of this. Oh, I should have done this, or I could have done that. Honestly, everyone feels that way in this hobby, and that's just something that I really needed to say. So, Prismatic Evolutions has gone up a little bit. Few dollars. We're up at that 110 range. Let's have a look at eBay. Last sold, look at this, new listing tag still showing on it, so just bought out straight away. $99. This is what I'm telling you guys. $99, $100, anything around that mark is just such a good deal for people that really understand the long term of where Prismatic is going. like, you're going to kick yourself for not buying more of this. I'm telling you guys, you really are. Last sold in the UK, £135, really creeping up here in price here in the UK. I hope that I'm not an influence on that. Sorry if I am, but you know, I'm always going to point out plays to each and every one of you. That's what this channel is all about, pointing out all the plays, pointing out all the price movements, not keeping that to myself. Hey, I'd rather we all get rich together than me get rich on my own. How about that? Let's briefly talk about Mega Evolutions then. We need to talk about it a little bit more because obviously it's coming out fairly soon in the US. UK and EU has got a delayed release. We're not going to get it until second week of October now. Bit disappointed, but we've got our pre-orders in with Pokemon Center, so I'll be happy to be receiving them. Just wanted to have a look really at the pre-order pricing. Out the gate, people are paying $234 for a pre-order on that. What are my thoughts on Mega Evolutions? Well, like I said, I've got pre-orders in for the product. I'm happy to pre-order into it. I think it will be a decent set. I think that it will increase over time. I don't think that the hype is going to massively die down overnight because Mega Evolutions is coming out. I don't think the bubble, so to speak, is going to burst. I think we're just going to carry on how we are. I think it's going to be a decently performing set. However, despite me having multiple pre-orders in, that's for retail. Me personally, I'm not in a rush to pay this kind of price on a pre-order to a random eBay seller. $234 I think is a bit mad. So me personally, I've got my pre-orders in. I'm going to have my PC ETBs, my booster bundles, my booster boxes. I'm probably going to buy another booster box on top as well. And then I'm happy and I'm going to wait and I'm going to see how the market receives it. A lot of the product that I have bought over the last 10 years that I've been doing this, I have not necessarily gone in super heavy on the release. Unless I know that it's going to be a really, really good set, like Destined Rivals or something like that, then I just wait and I see what the market's doing. Because, I'm sorry, for this kind of price, $234, I'm pretty confident that it's going to be around that price 6 months from now, a year from now. And if it is higher in price, then I'll be happy to pay the higher price for the product, knowing that the market supports that and that is the true market price. This right now, paying that kind of price on a pre-order is a huge gamble, and it's a huge guess that that's where the market's going to be at. Yeah, with any gamble, you might do well. You might pre-order for $234 and then it's $300 out the gate and there's massive supply issues and you can't get it, or it jumps to $400 and you did really well pre-ordering it for $234. That's entirely possible, but that's a big gamble. You could pre-order this for $234 and then on release day eBay's just full of them for $180 or $200. So just be very careful. I don't think there's any rush to buy into Mega Evolutions because you will get all of those people that had the pre-orders that got them for retail and they're just scalping it on. It's a very real thing in the hobby, but what's a bigger scalp? Buying from someone on day one for $200 or buying from this guy ahead of time for $230? I know which one I would rather do. And yeah, you're like, oh, I don't want to support scalpers. If you don't buy it, someone else will. Like, I don't like this whole thing about insulting scalpers and all that kind of thing. Even like, because the problem is, sealed collectors and sealed investors, right? If we're holding product for years, I don't like that we get thrown into the same, tarred with the same brush, so to speak, as these scalpers. And a lot of the product that I buy off of scalpers on day one because I couldn't get the product. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine because I just see them as stupid. Do you know what I mean? If on day one they want to sell me a booster box and I don't have to queue up anywhere and I can pay $200 for it for a good set, I'm happy because I'm holding that set until it's 600 and then I'm selling it. So it makes no difference to me in the long run. But that's just my personal opinion. So I just wanted to talk about Mega Evolution pre-orders very quickly and just say be cautious about buying in on a pre-order for like way over retail, because a lot of you guys are doing it and it's dangerous. We're going to very briefly talk about Black Bolt and White Flare just because it's not really moving in price. We kind of predicted that it wouldn't move in price. Real long term, I'll just briefly talk about it. I think it will do fine, and I think it will increase in price a decent amount and be sort of mid-level once it goes out of print in a long amount of time. But for the meantime, let's just have a look at the prices. Just Black Bolt ETB holding steady at around $86 and has been now for about a month and a half. White Flare similar but a little bit cheaper, just under $80 on the average price. No movements there really, but it's important that I mention it just because it is the most recent set out. We may stop mentioning it as much once Mega Evolutions comes out, as we focus on the ME era a little bit more, and then we'll just look back to it if there's any significant price changes. But I'll keep an eye on it for you and let you guys know. Let's move on then to Journey Together. Journey Together had this like weird run up in price at like end of August, where it went to about $260. We did call at the time there that we thought that was a little bit overpriced. We need to look at the market as a whole for Scarlet and Violet and understand that the mid to cheaper boxes are all around about $240 to $250, with the better ones pulling ahead a little bit more than that. So $260 just seemed a little bit expensive, and then we did actually see that come true and the price correct down to around about $246 on the average where it's been holding. Last sales on TCG Play around that $248, $245. I think that's about where it should be at right now. I think long term Journey Together will do fairly well. I think that it's a rose tinted glasses set that once it's out of print, people will look back on it and be like, oh, the arts are actually really good, and it'll be a lot more desirable and probably pull ahead more into sort of the upper end of the best performing booster boxes of Scarlet and Violet. But it's going to take time if it's going to do that. I would put it probably like top 5, around about there, just about sort of on the border. 4th best set, 5th best set, somewhere around about there, but it's just going to take a couple of years for it to be properly appreciated. So I think buying in at this price point is fine. I've been having some conversations with some of the Join Club members as well. If you guys don't know, I hold a exclusive club on YouTube. You can join and pay a subscription fee, and I will connect with you on Instagram and tell you everything you need to know. You can ask me any questions at any time and I will talk to you about it. I can talk to you about what you're thinking about buying. I can try and guide you into better purchases so that the subscription fee pays for itself basically, and I'll try and make you more money. Had some questions about Journey Together, people saying that it's one of their favourite sets, should they buy into it? Part of it is like, yeah, I think it will perform better in the long run than a lot of people expect, but the point I'm trying to make is that it's not all about buying the best product for potential profit. A lot of it for me as well is about the actual collecting of the sealed product and buying things that make me feel happy. So I buy sets that I like and that I believe in. If you were to turn around to me tomorrow and say PokePond Shrouded Fable is the best set out there for potential profit, I think it's going to do really well long term, I'm still not buying it because I just don't like the set personally. I wouldn't want it in my collection. So I think it's important to ask yourself how much of a percentage you are collector to investor. and that will help guide your purchases. It's definitely something that really helped me, and it's important to realize as well that those percentages don't stay the same as well. They will change in time, so keep asking yourself that question. I found that personally really helpful when guiding my purchases, even to the point where I'm about to check out on eBay on something. I'll ask myself that question: do I want that in my collection? How much of it is a collection versus an investment? What would be my potential price point that I might want to sell at? How much space is it going to take up? These are the kind of questions I ask myself before buying stuff, and I've literally had credit card information loaded into eBay, about to click the final button, and then I've gone, oh no, actually, second thoughts, maybe we don't buy into that. Let's buy something else that I would prefer to have in my collection. Let's have a look then. Got a bit sidetracked there. If you know me at all, I love going off on tangents. I always have a bit of a running joke on the channel that I try not to talk for over an hour, and we always end up talking for more than an hour, because I just end up rambling and start talking about it. I'm so passionate about Pokemon and sealed product. I just can't help it, guys. Okay, let's move on then. Journey Together last sold in the US $240 for the enhanced version. I think that's actually pretty cheap. Like I said, the kind of cheaper to mid boxes are like 240 to 250, 245. So to get an enhanced version, a nice sealed one for 240, I actually think that's a pretty good deal. And that one's coming out of California, so 1 point to California on the scalper chart. They're not really scalpers, we're just having a little bit of fun with it. Let's then have a look at the UK. In the UK, last sold £177, just a little bit over retail. Wow, 180 with postage. So what's that, like around about 20 quid over retail if you take off postage? Not bad. That's non-enhanced version. Non-enhanced version is a lot more common over here in the EU. Import here from Germany for under retail, but then you've got to pay 30 quid postage. So that's a weird buy. And then new listing tag here, bought out straight away. Enhanced version here for $228. We are paying a bit of a premium here for the enhanced version just because they are a little bit rarer. And then here you go, the little half booster boxes here for £91. Half booster boxes are an EU exclusive. If you're seeing them sold in the US, then they are just imports, and they were imported at some point from the EU. They are the coolest little product. I own a lot of them. Let's show up close for people who haven't seen them. Look, they are a half booster box. They are super cool. Generally, the seals on them are really good as well. You very rarely see damaged ones. And it is just 18 packs like a normal booster box, but just small. I think we're just getting guinea pigged and trialled here in the EU and the UK specifically to see how well they perform. Interestingly, for my UK people, the reason why they are often quite a lot cheaper than half of the price of a normal booster box are for two reasons. One, the distribution channels are different for half booster boxes, so you will find that a lot more like convenience stores and grocery stores with countertop displays, if you're in the UK, places like Spar, Premier, those kind of places have a lot more access to this kind of product on a different distribution channel, so that is why they are a little bit cheaper. And also, people are like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I could see why it might be true, is people generally want to buy a bigger seal product like a booster box, because some people think that that's 36 packs from the same batch, so you're more likely to hit a chase card. Possible, I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I don't rip a lot of packs, as I am a sealed investor and collector, so it kind of is a conflict of interest, me opening packs. But I do open packs, just try to avoid it because it's so dangerous where I own so much expensive sealed product. Let's move on then, otherwise I will be talking for over an hour. I mean, it's inevitable, it's going to happen anyway. Some of you love it though. Last week's episode ran on for an insane amount of time. It ran on till it was like an hour and 17 minutes, which I did not plan, and some of you are loving that down below in the comments. I actually am going to get a haircut in like an hour and a half, so I really need to start moving on with this episode, otherwise I'm going to miss my appointment and my barber's going to be mad. He's been on holiday as well, so I've had to wait another week to get a trim as well, so it's a bit out of control, but you guys won't know, that's why I wear a hat. So I don't have to worry about it. Let's then have a look at what's going on with Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade, $300 on the average price last week, and it's kind of still on there. Last sale is technically $300, so no change, but the sales before, we're seeing sales of $324, which is an all-time high. Even $300 is right up at that all-time high, so technically no price change on the average price chart, but really it is creeping up. It's kind of up about $10 on the averages. eBay, look at this, yeah, $320. Coming out of Texas again, coming out of Iowa Park, Texas. Looks like Texas is going to take the crown for the heaviest scalpers this week. No, we're just having some fun. We love our Texas people. Texas is one of those states that I would love to visit one day. I so want to visit the US one day. Never been and would love to go sometime. Can someone have a word with Trump and make sure that they let me in at the border? Last sold in the UK, £281. Like I said, right up there at the all-time high. Difference in price actually between 2 days. Yesterday, $281 on a buy it now, $241 on an auction. So sometimes you can get auctions if you snipe a good auction. Maybe it finished at an awkward time, I don't know. 10 bids, so a decent amount of people going for it. But yeah, and then half booster boxes there going for 90 quid. Do I recommend you invest in half booster boxes? I would say if you're priced out of the booster box, the big one, then yeah. But if you can afford to save up the money, get the main booster box. It's going to increase in price quicker. It's going to be more desirable. It's going to be easier to sell. But I do have half booster boxes as well. I think it's a good way to buy into a set for a little bit cheaper if you don't want to commit to the full price of buying them. Like, to me, I'm quite happy to once a month give out 70 quid or something like that. That hurts me a lot less than paying 281 quid for a booster box on a set that maybe isn't something that's like my top on my priority to buy, but I still want to have a position in it. Then the half booster boxes really come to their own. And I do hope that you US people will get full releases of half booster boxes going forward, because they are a cool product, and I think that it removes that barrier to entry into booster boxes that some people suffer from, because for some people it's a lot of money, especially if they're starting out in sealed, to commit that much money, even at retail price, to pay $170, $180 on a product. That's a lot of money for a lot of people. So half booster boxes, I'm behind them. I think that they should make more of them. Let's then move on to Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved is on a bit of a tear, has been for a little while now. Again, Paldea Evolved, everyone was talking months ago, oh, there's going to be heavy reprints of it, don't buy into it now. Absolute nonsense. We barely even ever saw any Paldea Evolved hit the shelves, let alone booster boxes, and the chance of reprint, I think they're done now. Technically, it's still in print window, but I think it's done. Even if there's a small chance that some of these will hit shelves, the demand's just too high for it now. Price is just going to keep accelerating and probably get faster and faster. Last week, $418 on the average prices. This week, $475 with sales at $500. So $475. Let's take that. Let's do a price percentage change. 475 to 418. Let's just use the calculator. 75 to 18. $57 price rise. What was it? 418 divided by 418. Sorry, brain not braining for a second there. 13.6% price rise this week for Paldea Evolved. Bit of a monster. Again, pulling ahead. I think, personally, Destined Rivals is going to outpace Paldea Evolved in the long term, but obviously Paldea Evolved has just had that time out there. Definitely a good buy, I think, even at this price point. I mean, there's no way I don't see that going to $1,000 a box in the long term, and when I talk about long term, I'm talking about years. I think we all kind of agree we can see where Paldea Evolved is going long term, and it is one of the top sets of the Scarlet and Violet era. So we'll be keeping an eye on that every week as always. Last sold on eBay US, $450 going to ID. What state is ID? What could that be? See, I'm learning my states through eBay now. ID. Idaho? That's got to be Idaho. Is Idaho a state? I think it is. We're going with Idaho. Boise, Idaho. Idaho? Don't know how to say that. And then one going for $489 just before it on a buy it now as well. Which is, yeah, all-time highs. It's right up there. Pushing $500 on the Paldea Evolved now. Kind of nuts. Last sold in the UK, £343. Let's then briefly talk about Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift. Some people get mad when I insult Temporal Forces. Please don't. I love the artworks. I actually have a really large position in Temporal Forces, even though I dog on it every single week. Actually increasing up in price quite a bit over the last few weeks. Last week it was $247 last sold. Actually a drop in price, $230 technically, with another sale there, $242, $230. So technically down in price on last week. There's a sale there from the 8th, which was, yeah, last week, $260. $260, we even said when we saw that $260 last week that is a wild price for Temporal Forces. Yeah, Temporal Forces is in the mid performance of the Scarlet and Violet boxes, in my opinion, where it should be ranked of like best sets. Could pull ahead in time because their artworks are good, but it should never be like at the upper end of the prices compared to the other stuff around it. So to see it drop to like $230 is kind of interesting. I think at $230 that makes it now one of the cheapest boxes. I think you'll struggle to find one for $230, but technically last sale on TCG Player is $230, so it has dropped down in price this week. I think where it should be is probably around about $240. I think that $230 is quite a good deal for Temporal. There you go. Last sale in the US, $244. Someone paid on a new listing yesterday for $255. So yeah, I think about $240, $245. That's where all like the mid-level boxes are at the moment in Scarlet and Violet. I think that's fairly fair. Last sold in the UK, £167. Pretty much bang on retail. You've been able to pick up Temporal Forces for retail or below for pretty much since its release. So yeah, there we go. Let's move on then. Let's briefly talk about Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift, sorry about the sirens, live on quite a busy road in a big inner city. Nothing I can do about that. We will not let that interrupt us. Just another mention, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Paradox Rift last week, $247, creeping up there in price. This week, $260. There's no way Paradox Rift should be $260. And the reason why is because you've got to look at everything else around it. Okay? You've got Journey is cheaper than Paradox. You've got Surging Sparks is cheaper than Paradox. Like, it just shouldn't be. Yeah, $260 is too expensive for Paradox right now. In time, yes, $260, perfectly fine, but I would not be buying Paradox for $260. Paradox is one of those sets that I do not own at all. Let's then look at Surging Sparks. You don't have to own everything. Someone said in a video, another content creator, shout out to them. I'm not going to name them because I don't tend to name anyone because I don't want any positive or negative comments going to anyone really. I just stay in my own lane. But they coined a very good catchphrase, which was adding more SKUs doesn't make you more money. SKU, for those of you who don't know, is basically like an individual barcode. So what their point is having more products or like being into more different sets doesn't make you more money. Sometimes it's okay to just invest in the sets that you really believe in. You don't have to own everything unless that you're taking the collection point of view, and that's your goal as a collection, is to have a bit of everything, that's perfectly fine as well. But I think people do get caught up a lot, myself included, in the earlier days of just wanting one of everything. I went through a phase definitely in the Scarlet and Violet, not in the Scarlet and Violet, in the Sword and Shield era, and a little bit in the Sun and Moon era, of just wanting an ETB of everything, and that's perfectly fine. But you need to understand that that is a collection point of view, not an investing point of view, which is perfectly fine. Surging Sparks, like we spoke about. So last week, $258. This week, same price, $260, with some sales at $250, another at $260. So averaging out about $255. Kind of a flat week for Surging Sparks. But like, this is what I'm saying. Surging Sparks is $260. And I just think it's so much of a better set than Paradox Rift, in my opinion. It's a lot better received as well. Every week, people are going to disagree. It doesn't matter what I say. If you put your own opinion out on a product and it's negative, because this is going out to so many thousands of people, some people, that's going to offend them because that's their favourite set. It's not meant to be offensive at all. I'm just giving you my own opinions on sets. It's positive if you don't just copy my opinions on everything. A lot of this channel is about educating people and giving them the tools they need to make their own decisions, so that they can perform well in the market, and also perform well when I'm not there. You know, I'm here once a week for you. You can watch the video, but then carry that advice forward into all of your buying for the next week, the next month, that kind of thing. That's the whole goal of the channel, is just to help people and just be an educational resource where we focus on the data. And to me, it looks like Paradox Rift is overpriced and Surging Sparks is underpriced, and that is personal opinion. So yeah, Surging the same price as Paradox right now, $260 a box. I just think that that's a bit mad. I think Surging Sparks is a really good buy right now. There you go. Look, last sold on eBay, $300, all-time high, like way over what TCG Player is charging. So there you go. Yeah, speechless. Surging Sparks breaking out on eBay US. We'll keep an eye on that every week, as we always do. This one goes to Illinois, I guess. IL is Illinois, right? A point for Illinois. I think Texas is still winning though. They've got 2 points, right, for the scalper tier chart. I don't know. We're having fun with it though. Last sold in the UK, £250. I still think even at $250, that's a decent buy, as long as you're willing to hold it for a couple of years. We are going to talk about Obsidian Flames now. We kind of never talk about Obsidian Flames on the channel. I love Obsidian Flames. I bought into Obsidian Flames heavy on release because it was cheap. Back then, you could pick up Obsidian Flames on pre-order for below retail. I was picking up boxes for 20%, 30% below retail on pre-orders, and they sat as well. They sat on shelves for below retail, and I bought decently heavy into it. I've got multiple boxes of Obsidian Flames, and it was so badly received. When Obsidian Flames came out, we had obviously like base set come out. You know, it was just sat on shelves. You had no one wanted to touch Paldea Evolve back then as well, and people just dogged on Obsidian Flames so much, and I just ignored them because I liked the set. I bought into it. They said it was Darkness Ablaze 2.0, and Darkness Ablaze was rubbish, and Charizard sets are no good, and all of that. I didn't care, and it's so funny because once it started going up in price, and it took quite a lot of time for it to start increasing in price, all of those, literally those same people, those same YouTubers, and again, I won't name them because I don't throw out shade on anyone, those same YouTubers, all of a sudden, as soon as it started going up, oh, Obsidian Flames is a great buy. Oh, you were all sleeping on Obsidian Flames. We've all said since the start Obsidian Flames was good. No, you didn't, because I was watching you every single week. You know, I'm like you guys. I watch all of everyone else's content as well. Be careful. There are a lot of people that aren't consistent in what they say. Me, I'm consistent about it, and I'll be honest about stuff as well. Me personally, here you go. Full disclaimer. Paldea Evolved. I thought it was a rubbish set when it came out. Didn't buy into it until it was like nearly a year old. But once it starts going up in price, once you start seeing the data, start seeing the charts, you can't argue with it. I bought into it. I've actually sold most of my Paldea Evolve now. I actually sold some last week or the week before. Yeah, sold out of it because I wasn't too hyped about the set. I never was, but I just listened to the data. The data was going up. I nearly doubled my money on it. I was happy. The reason why I sold it as well, Paldea Evolved, is not just because I wasn't too hyped about it being in my collection, but also because I went a bit mad, like I said, on the pre-orders for Mega Evolutions. So sometimes that's nice to sell some previous product, take some profit. Like I said, you got the product, you got the power, you can do what you want with it. I was happy to sell Paldea Evolve for a decent price point. People will say that I'm mad. Oh, you should have held on for longer, blah, blah, blah. But I just rolled the money into product that I would much rather have. So there we go. Obsidian Flames then. Sorry, we were doing price charts. This is what I'm saying. This is why the episodes go on so long. I get so sidetracked. We go into story time with PokePond. Some of you love it, though. I know you do. Comment down below if you like story time with PokePond. Let's focus on prices then. Otherwise, I'm going to miss my haircut. $309 last week on the average price point. This week, $330 with a sale right up there at $350. Don't sleep on Obsidian Flames. It's going up there in price. So what was it? $330, $305. No, $309 to $330. So $21 price rise on $309. 21 divided by 309. And again, it's an old set, so like it's getting up there in age. The chances of it getting reprinted are pretty slim. 6.7% price rise. Maybe we're going to have to start looking at Obsidian Flames every week if it keeps performing like that. It seems like the run-up started at around about end of August as well. So it's had a positive past couple of weeks. It's not just this week it's gone up. Over the last 3 months as well, it's up 35%, with most of that coming over the last couple of weeks. I think that people are starting to FOMO into Obsidian Flames. It is a sleeper set for sure. Last sold on eBay US, $296. I'm going to try and start moving faster with this now, this video. From California getting a point now. Last sold in the UK, £289, with another one here selling for a few days ago for $319. But just look at the time difference in these. You've had 3 boxes sell. This one's from France, so it's an import, so ignore that one. It might even be a French version. So 2 sales, 2 booster boxes next to each other, 6 days apart. So it took 6 days between 2 booster boxes being sold. Not much Obsidian Flames being sold, partly because the demand is low, but partly because the supply is low. It wouldn't take much for there to be a bit of a run on Obsidian Flames, and then all of a sudden the price just jumps. We've seen it before with other previous sets, stuff like Rebel Clash, Guardians Rising, Crimson Invasion, some of these older sets that I start to name, where they're not always the most popular sets, but because there's not a lot of people selling them, it doesn't take much for the price to be more volatile and just start spiking up. So keep an eye on Obsidian Flames, or don't keep an eye on it and I'll keep an eye on it for you and I'll tell you when it's moving. Subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's then have a look at one of the other monsters of the Scarlet and Violet era. The 151, particularly the Elite Trainer box, it's just been on an absolute tear over the last few months. We've been saying for a long time, every time we check it, it's higher in price. $382 last week on the average price. And then look, so 2 here for $350, which is lower, but then that's not what market is. I think that's price manipulation. I don't think they're fulfilled, because look at the sales before. $419, $423, $400. So we're going to move on to eBay and see what's really going on, because sometimes TCG Player can be a bit weird with its pricing. eBay will tell you exactly what's going on. $390. So it was around about $380 last week on the averages. $390. So up around about $10. Probably a couple of percent there. I'm not going to calculate it out. It's a small percentage increase, but it's week on week on week with 151. I think it's going to have a really fantastic run over the next 12 months. And that's another one for Texas. Ooh, Texas is winning on the scalper chart. We need a name for the scalper chart. Comment down below. Let's then have a look at something else as well. I wanted to show you this very quickly. Look at this. PC ETB of 151. Look at how much that's selling for now. $1,100 now for a 151 PC ETB. I have a friend who has a case of these, so I'm sure they're going to be very happy watching this. But yeah, Texas seems to be where it's at for people selling product this week. We'll see whether it changes week on week or whether Texas is going to be crowned the king of the scalpers. I'm just joking, by the way. I love Texas. And you're not scalpers. We're just having fun with it. Last sold on eBay UK, £310. Really weird image. Why would you take your first image on the side? Maybe it's got damage. I don't know. I haven't got time to look into it. Another one here selling for 376, 360. So this 310 is a bit of a lower one. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, creeping up in price worldwide, both US and UK. Let's briefly have a look at Paldean Fates. We've been calling out Paldean Fates for a good amount of time now that it is a massively slept on set and will perform really well going forward. We're actually seeing price jumps on the Charizard single card there as well. That's one of my favourite Charizard cards. We actually do have it in a slab in a PSA 9 for those of you who are interested. And I haven't looked at what's going on with the Bubble Mew, but the Bubble Mew is always doing insane things. So there's no surprise the Elite Trainer box is going up in price. Chances of it getting reprinted now as well, very slim going forward. Last week we were seeing an average price of $255 and now we're up to $300. So a $45 price rise for Paldean Fates Elite Trainer box. That's quite significant. That's an 18% price rise exactly over the last 7 days on the averages. Let's have a look at eBay then. Last sold in the US, $270 now, and that is $250 on a new listing and then $270 on an auction as well, both from yesterday on the 12th of September. Let's then have a look at the UK. UK £200. I sold one of these at the start of the summer for £110. So it's nearly doubled in price since the start of the summer, which is kind of crazy, and I think it will continue to run. This is quite interesting as well. Look at this, the PC ETB now in the UK going for nearly £500. That has gone up a significant amount of money. That is absolutely pumping the Paldean Fates PC ETB. I do own one of them. Thank you very much to my friend who sold me one of those. Sorry if you're listening. Let's then move on to the Sword and Shield era, to the big boys. We got to start off with the King of the Jungle, the Evolving Skies. Just been on an absolutely historic run for pretty much the last couple of years. Just continues to pump and exceed everyone's expectations. Last week, $2,500. This week we're seeing sales of nearly $2,700. There's one for $2,850. We're getting really close to having 3k a box on a sale. Last sold on eBay US, $2,700, and last sold in the UK for nearly 2,200 quid. One bid sold for 22 or 21.50. Sorry. I just want to say how crazy this is as well, that you have the audacity to start an auction at 2,150 quid and then still try and charge someone 20 quid postage. Like, just put free postage on, bro. Like, just take the L on the postage, even if you got to pay tax on the postage. Come on, what are we doing charging 20 quid postage on a 2,150 quid box? Absolutely despicable behaviour. Fusion Strike booster box then. Fusion Strike has been on an absolute tear as well, and this week is no different. Absolutely doing some bits on the market this week. $944 this last week. Last sale $1,050. So a huge price run up. Yeah. a little over $100. So what's that? $106, is it? Yeah, $106 increase in price on Fusion Strike this week. 106 divided by, what was it? 9. Sorry, brain not braining again. 9. No, it was 9. So it was 944. 944. Yeah, sorry, 106. I'm being an idiot. Divided by 944. 11.2% price rise on Fusion Strike this week, which is significant and just keeps continuing to pump. We're seeing regular sales now over $1,000. Last sold eBay US, $1,050. Going to Los Angeles, California for a scalper point. Look at this, a booster box case from Arizona going for 6 bands now. That is absolutely crazy. Oh, this is something that I really wanted to point out as well. I know I'm getting sidetracked and I need to move faster through the video, but look at how ridiculous this is, right? So here's one selling for $1,200, right? Just for a booster box of Fusion, which is an all-time high. It's $150, so like what, like 15% over market price from California. But their justification, I think, in trying to charge 1,200 quid, it is a mini box, I'll give them that. They put in there Rudy Alpha case, or from a Rudy Alpha case. What that means, right, is that's come from, obviously, the king of seal collecting, good old Rudy. If you don't know who he is the godfather of seal collecting and investing videos. So are we just going to start charging a premium now for a loose booster box because it apparently came from a case that was once owned by a famous YouTuber? Like, I know case premiums are getting a little bit mad, but is that it? Can we just charge 15% over market now for claiming that it came from someone famous that does seal product? If so, let me know, because there's no signature on it or anything. So if that is the case, let me know, because I would be more than happy to sell you guys some seal product, and I'll sign it for you if you want. I wonder if I can get a premium for that. What if I start signing sealed booster boxes? I would never do that, by the way, because it ruins the integrity of the seal product. But should I start signing the bottom of my sealed booster boxes and then try and put them on for more money? The brains, the cogs are turning. But I just thought that was ridiculous, because no one can prove that came from a case from that person. I just thought that was absolute madness. Last sold in the UK, 618 quid. Looks like 2 of them from the same seller as well. New listing tags too, so bought out instantly, those 2 for 618, which is pretty much the highest I've seen. And then another new listing from the day before. So those 2 are from this morning, actually. And it's only 12 noon, so those 2 618s bought out this morning. And then yesterday, 771 quid for a Fusion Strike booster box. What are previous sales before that? Look, 760 best offer. Crazy. Fusion Strike is on an absolute tear right now. I can't believe that 1,200 quid one, though. Sorry, $1,200 one that was apparently from a Rudy case. That's just crazy. Lost Origin last week, $817. I think that Lost Origin's massively underpriced right now. This week, $800, so technically dropped down like $17, but kind of really hasn't, because we're just looking at averages, and that is just a very small percentage. You know, anything, once you get to that price point of like $800 plus, a price movement either way of like 1 to 2%, you can just kind of ignore, because it's just market fluctuation. It's not really a change in price. Last sold in the UK, 750 quid. Okay, so if we're having Fusion Strike starting to go for apparently $1,200 a box, there's no way that Lost Origin should be $750 a box. They both should be in that $1,000 range now. Interestingly as well, stop getting sidetracked, PokePond, but look at this for a display piece. The PC ETB of Lost Origin for $380 is looking quite nice, actually. I would have it as a display piece more than a investment piece, but just look how beautiful that is. As a sealed collector, you've got to appreciate that is a beautiful ETB. Very cool, whoever picked that one up. Last sold in the UK, 690 quid. Around about 100 quid below the Fusion Strike box here in the UK, which I think is about right. Let's then have a look briefly at Astral Radiance. We really need to get moving now. Astral Radiance had a big price correction after a big run up in price. Let's zoom out a little bit for those of you who don't know. A couple of months ago it had a big run up in price, as did most Sword and Shield products, and then after the big buyout it just price corrected down to around about here, to around about $366, and over the last couple of weeks we've seen it recover a little bit. Look at that. Look, over the last month, that looks a lot healthier on the chart. Just seeing it recover up around about 6% to where it should be, around about that $400 range. And this week, it's up to 2 selling actually for $410, which I'm really happy to see, because it was horrible seeing Astral Radiance start to tank in price. But that's just a normal price correction and consolidation. Just it finding the bottom of the market naturally after a big artificial run up in price. So positive to see it climbing again, and a bit of a sleeper set moving forward. Let's then talk about Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars is performing very well over the last few weeks as well. Brilliant Stars regularly over $500 a box now. We said back at around about this time that it's going to struggle to break 500, but once it does, it should have a fairly smooth and consistent slow trickle run up to around about $600 plus, and we're starting to see that this week in line with that prediction. So $522 last week, this week $540, so up around about $18. Nothing major, just something light, just slowly gaining up in price, and I think they're looking pretty cheap. I put that in the same category as Silver Tempest as well. I kind of put them as similar sort of sets, maybe Brilliant Stars slightly better performing overall. Silver Tempest having a similar sort of run up, but it hasn't breached that $500 mark, which I think it will struggle to do so for a few weeks. It will bounce around that $500 mark soon. And then once you see, like with Brilliant Stars, once it does break that 500 mark about here, it should just then start quickly trickling up to $600 plus, in my opinion. And they're just looking quite cheap as time goes on. Last sold on TCG Player at $464, so up like $14 again, just something light. Last sold on eBay US, $490 coming from New York, and last sold in the UK £378. We're going to talk about Crown Zenith then. Crown Zenith, we've been saying since it was basically like $90 a box, it's one of the safest places to put your money. I'm a big fan of Crown Zenith. I own multiple ETBs. It's one of those that it's not super volatile up in price, but over the long term it's just a real steady builder. Week on week it's consistently just gaining 1%, 2%, 3% here and there, and just compounding up. It's such a consistently growing set, and one of my favourite sets of the Sword and Shield era. Let's then have a look at prices. Prices now up to $221, and last week we were at $205. So quite a nice price rise up this week with $16 price rise. Now $16 might not seem like a lot, but $16 on 205 is a 7.8% price rise over the last 7 days. And like I said, it's not going to do that every week. Sometimes it's just going to be 1%, 2%, or it might sit stale for a couple of weeks. But it's just consistently growing over time. If we zoom out and look at the 1 year chart, you can see that, look, it's just steadily laddering up and going up in price. And actually, when you look at that, you can see it's actually starting to accelerate up in price over the last few weeks as well. Love Crown Zenith. I think it's a really good set. Last sold in the US. Oh, look, another one from Texas. Texas are on it with their scalping this week. $222. I think they're definitely going to win this week. It's so funny because there were so many people as well. I love looking back at people's attitudes, and so many people, when Crown Zenith breached $100, said that they had a problem with ever paying $100 or more for Crown Zenith, because in their head it used to be piled high to the ceiling in Costco for retail price and below, which it was for Crown Zenith. And yeah, you need to adjust and move with the market, because how much of an old man do I sound like now if I say something like, and it wasn't even that long ago people were saying, oh, I could never pay it. I remember when Crown Zenith was $60 a box. Well, I'm sorry, Grandpa. Like, it's $222 a box now, and doesn't look like it's going to get any cheaper ever. So yeah, people were saying that at like the start of the summer, start of the year as well, that it was mad that it was over $100, and they could never see themselves investing into it for $100 because it's never going to increase in price because there was so much of it available at Costco. And we can learn lessons here as well from Crown Zenith when we look at things like prismatic evolutions. Prismatic evolutions, heavily printed in Costco, you know, and didn't affect Crown Zenith in the long haul. Once you start zooming out into these longer time horizons, you start to see patterns repeat themselves. And I make a lot of predictions on this channel, and I have done for quite a while now. Oh, while I'm on the subject, now I know not a lot of people are going to hear this because, you know, we're quite deep into the episode at this point, so this is just the real fans. So the real fans I'm talking to now, the people that made it this far through, you are the MVPs. The channel is now 2 years old. Whoop, whoop. It happened this week. I didn't know the exact date that it was going to be, but YouTube let me know. They sent me a cool little message saying your channel is 2 years old now. So thank you. Big massive thank you to all the subscribers, everyone who comments down below in the videos as well. I love reading through all your comments. Make sure you comment down below. I can't believe we've been doing YouTube now for 2 years on this channel. Have been incredibly successful with it. It hasn't felt like work at any stage. I love doing it for you guys. I will continue to do it as well. Yeah, love it. Last sold in the UK. We're moving on. We have to. It's going to be more than an hour. I can just sense that I've been talking for more than an hour already. Last sold in the UK, £215 now. Very briefly, we're going to talk about Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign. We don't talk about it every week just because sometimes I forget to talk about it, and it's not like I have a list of sets that I'm going to go through each week. And look at how many tabs I just have to like load up. So inevitably I'm going to miss stuff. So I have missed Chilling Reign some weeks. So sorry about that, but we'll have a look at it now. Last week it was on $570 this week. Little price reduction. It is down to $554. I wouldn't worry too much though, because you can see it had such a big run up in price back at the start of August. So we're just in a little bit of price consolidation on Chilling Reign. Nothing to be worried about, really. Now, let's finish off with one of my favourite things to do, something a little bit different at the end of the episode. What I like to do is I like to just go onto eBay US, just type in Pokemon, filter to sold, filter to new, and just look at stuff that's selling. Generally, it's only going to show you sealed product if you filter out to new products. And this one caught my eye this week. This is a product that I have not seen before. I didn't even know it existed. Well, I don't even think it exists yet because people are taking pre-sales on it and pre-orders. So here it is. It is a Japanese box, and someone bought it for $290 on a pre-order. And it just looks kind of cool. It's got this shining red Gyarados on it. It's got a Pikachu on it. It looks like it is a stamped promo card, which is very cool, which is Pikachu riding the Gyarados. It looks like it's got a deck box and then sleeves. I don't know if it comes with packs as well. I think it's probably unlikely. I think it's just a promo box, but it's pretty cool, pretty interesting. I like I am a seal collector more than anything, so it's just cool to see seal product. It says it's Pokemon Center Hiroshima 2025, so I presume it is a new Pokemon Center maybe opening up in Hiroshima, Japan, and then this is going to be the promo for it. Quite often in Japan they do that to celebrate a new store opening, so I just thought it was cool product. Am I going to buy one? No, but I just thought it was cool, and yeah, maybe that will interest some of you. But I personally didn't know it was a product. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know it was coming. So, and it's cool, and I appreciate cool seal product. So that's why I showed it to you guys. Anyway, let's wrap up this episode. Thank you everyone again for 2 years on the channel. I can't believe it. Let's carry on strong for the next 2 years. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Please hit that like button. If you got anything out of this video, it helps me out massively and pushes my content out there further. There's also a new button apparently coming. YouTube texted me about it, or emailed me about it. YouTube didn't text me. I haven't just got YouTube texting me. YouTube emailed me about it. Apparently there's going to be a new button on YouTube, I presume next to the like button and the subscribe button. I don't even know if it's there yet or if it's coming soon, and it's going to be called the hype button. You're allowed to click 3 videos a week. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can hype the video, and it makes it just push it out there further to more people. So if the hype button's there, have a look for it. Please press it. If it's not there yet, have a look for it soon. Please use your hype charges on me. I would love that. But yeah, you get 3 a week, so you can use your 3 favorite content creators. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Good luck buying product, finding product, and peace.